Safe guys, I'm Kieran, I'm an addict. Yeah, I had to close my other account, different reasons, what have you, and it just seems I've lost my videos. So here we go. This will be the first video on this account. So yeah, things are going all right. Like I said, my name's Kieran. I'm an addict. I've gone a long time believing that I was actually a heroin addict. In denial basically, but actually I was drinking, taking other drugs like crack cocaine, anything really. That were me. That's just what I did from a very young age. In other videos I'll go into more detail about my past and my history. I just feel it's better to, fully, write in my titles what I'm going to talk about, so this one just hitting back, really get up a video. I've not done one for a while, and not quite go into all that kind of other stuff. But just for today, I've not used. I'm doing all right. I actually did 5 weeks and 4 days without using a street drug. Although, as far as NA goes, or fellowships, the 12-step program, you need to be off all drugs kind of thing in order to fully work the steps. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because it's kept me away from other drugs, but I'm still on a prescribed medication at the moment. I'm bringing it down, and I have been doing for a while. Just to touch back on what I said earlier, I did believe I was a heroin addict. I used methadone. and I was on that for many years. And I worked as a drugs counsellor for over 7 years, at a service whilst on a prescription. I didn't use heroin for 13 years while I was on a prescription, but in that time, as I've mentioned, I was drinking alcohol excessively. I would say I was an alcoholic. I have been an alcoholic, but now what I say is I'm an addict. I have been in multiple fellowships at some times and all that kind of thing, like I go into AA and NA. I think that were kind of what were around me kind of a situation, and also seeking fellowship and understanding. But I think more lately I'm kind of seeing that I just need one. I just need NA. I'm an addict, which means I've used drugs and I've drunk alcohol and I take drugs and alcohol or anything that's about, in order to change my feelings, yeah. So that's how I recognise that I'm actually an addict, because it doesn't matter what it is that I'd put into my body, I'm not fixed on one thing. It could be anything. So, I've got that kind of understanding now about that, which, helps me a great deal. Like I've said, I'm reducing my dose. I've not used heroin for many, many years. I've been stuck in on a prescribed medication, which has helped me, it's helped me not go back into the mayhem of full-blown drug use, I've had instances where people, they see posts what I've put onto my Facebook, and they start insinuating, that maybe I've been taking street drugs, namely heroin. I say to them, look at your own recovery, don't try point out other people's recovery and what they're doing. Look at yourself and your own life, maybe, that's all I kind of say, really. I don't have any bad feeling towards those people, but I'd just say, piss off, you know what I mean? I need to deal with my own shit, you get me? I don't really care that other people might say or think that I'm using heroin, because actually it's only me that matters. I know, so everyone else can go swivel, is how I feel about it. And I feel very strongly about that, about many aspects of feelings and emotions, that I'm the only important one. I don't feel that or receive that or push that out in a selfish sort of way at all. I actually receive it and send it out in a way which is basically, I know, so it's irrelevant, yeah? It's irrelevant if someone says this to that person and they come back to me and say this, or you're using. I say, well, believe me or what, do what you want. I don't really give a hell, really. I don't care, because it really doesn't matter, you know, because I know, right? But yeah, I'm waffling a bit, you know. It does get me goat when people start, you know, looking at my recovery and saying, oh, this, that and other, you know. But I'd say, you know, let's look at my history. Let's look at what I've done. I worked as a drugs worker for 7 years. I go to university now. I was accepted and I won a full scholarship. You know, I think that must speak some. It must say something about my integrity, my values, about what I've done, the people I've supported. You know, I'm highly rated by people, by managers, by every person that I've worked with, by all the people that were on my caseload. They all knew that I did my best by them, you know, and that I was there and that I did a good job, you know. So for me, I just think, I don't big myself up about that, but I think, you know, look at yourself is what I'd say, really, you know. And it's humbling, you know, in a way, you know, for me, you know, and it's helped me, because it's helped me to look at those things that I've done and then actually think, to say this on a video now, yeah, Kieran, you have achieved, you know, you have achieved, you know. Just because I was on a prescribed medication does not mean that the things that I did was any less value or any less worth than any other person that wasn't. Because the actual reality is, it isn't. And in most cases, because I was working in substance misuse, it could be deemed that the best person to work with those people was me, because I had done it and I was them. I was a mirror image. But, you know, who knows? I do also agree, though, that it's a multidisciplinary team. And if you've got people on that team, such as myself, that have been there, it's irrelevant that everyone has to be there in order to, you know, be a good worker, you know, because we learn off each other and it's multidisciplinary, like I said. We work together, we draw from each other, you know, as we do in life and in the world, you know. But, you know, really, I'm calm about it. It's just my first video, you know. I've not touched on a couple of things that do touch a raw nerve, but ultimately, my recovery is number one for me, you know. Not to go back to drinking is number one for me, you know. And basically what it is, it's not even about what 12-step tells me. NA, a person in NA, a person in fellowship, a person on the street, it's irrelevant really to me what they say to me, because ultimately I recognise as Kieran Conway that alcohol is a drug, yeah? And if you're taking alcohol, then you are not clear or clean, as some people like to say. I don't like that term. I don't feel you're dirty because you use drugs, so I don't really like to use it. But, you know, we speak how we speak, and that's how we understand, right? So sometimes we use words such as clean, you know, in a context without fully understanding the impact of using that word, you know, on a person that suffers from, you know, issues around judgment and being judged, such as myself. But, you know, at the end of the day, alcohol is no different than heroin. It's no different. It's actually worse, in my opinion, you know. The cost implications for alcohol in this country are phenomenal. You know, the death rates in this country to do with alcohol is phenomenal, you know. I think it speaks volumes that our own government would fire a person, you know, that they've asked to do their job in telling them something about a specific drug, and just because they mention about alcohol and its dangers, they get sacked. I think it just speaks volumes that, as far as what we do in this country, that, you know, if it's got a cost implication or a tax implication, you're not allowed to speak it up, you know. And I think it's just ridiculous. But anyway, I'm rambling and going on to other areas. You know, I'm Kieran, I'm an addict. This will now be named my first video. And yeah, there'll be many more to come. You know, if you want to leave a comment, that's fine. You know, I'm fully open to any suggestion or anything really on what I speak here. You know, I try to keep things real. You know, I try to be honest, you know, in my life and offer out compassion. You know, the things that I've said in no way are directed at anyone. It's just a gripe, you know, and an event. So thanks for your time. Cheers.